Show of hands, who's ever done a real soft field landing? Tell me in the comments below while we play the intro. What is happening, MzeroA Nation? Jason Shepard here. I'm going to read those comments, so you better tell me if you've ever done a real soft field landing. I'm talking on the grass, bonus points if it was like dirt or gravel, extra bonus points if it was like a riverbed or something amazing. Hey, while you're typing that in, also like and subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, and don't just stop with this video. Keep on going. Don't forget about our entire online ground school. Check it out, MzeroAtrial.com, to take a free 2-week trial of our #1 rated online ground school and see why the best just keeps getting better. If you love this teaching style, you're going to love the online ground school. You know it's the year of 2-3 Mike Zulu because it's 2023. All this month we're giving away some great gear from our friends at MyGoFlight. Head over to MzeroAcontest.com to enter to win. And then on June 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's in the evening, I'll be doing the Secret to Perfect Landings live. So really excited to share that with you all. We'll give away that gear from our friends at MyGoFlight, and then we'll be learning about the secret to perfect landings. So before we head into the airplane, let me teach a little bit here in studio all about soft field landings. You see, the purpose of a soft field landing is to get airborne truly as quickly as possible. And in fact, to take it a step further, the name of the game is protect the nose wheel. What do I mean when I say a soft field? It's a soft surface. It's mud, grass, anything, dirt, or riverbed like I alluded to here. You see, what we're going to do in this soft field takeoff is we're going to use ground effect as an advantage. And the key is actually to stay in ground effect so the airplane doesn't settle back to the ground. So we must attain our climb out speed in ground effect before attempting that climb out. So I want to head to the airplane now, and just like last week, another throwback video, classic Jason from a few years ago, and classic 2-3 Mike Zulu before the big panel upgrade. So real quick, let me show you a soft field takeoff, then we'll come right back here for a soft field landing. Soft field taxi and takeoff today. I'm going to show you pushing up into ground effect and everything else. For right now, I'm showing you the taxiing with that nose all the way back, avoiding braking. My run-up was already done back on an area that was nice, flat, and solid, and you're going to see me do a rolling takeoff in this case. When I come around this turn here, you're going to watch this takeoff. Look how bumpy it is here, keeping that nose back, coming on through, avoiding braking. Coming on through, around, giving it some power, and smoothly applying full power here, back on that yoke. Airspeed's alive, nose is up, protecting that nose wheel. She's ready to fly.
Wilson traffic, 8382 Lima, space to final, 23, full stop, that Wilson.
And we're up in ground effect. Look at that. And flying on through, hold it in ground effect, building up our airspeed, and we are up and out of here. A nice, easy, soft field takeoff. So I told you, that was a quick video, and we spoke in there about ground effect, and ground effect is, in effect, creating drag is reduced, right? When the aircraft is close to the ground, disrupting the airflow over the wing. And in fact, the closer to the ground, the less drag on the airplane. So if you're like me, you're asking, so Jason, is ground effect a good thing or is it a bad thing? And the answer is both. In this case, it's good. But in the case of you trying to nail that short field landing from last week, it could be bad because it causes you to float. But in this case, it's good because it helps the airplane get off the ground quickly. I'm trying to get off of that bumpy, unpaved runway. Now, there's a lot of takeoff considerations, though. You see, rolling from takeoff to taxi, did you see I avoided stopping because I didn't want to sink into that. That's like, in Florida, we have something called St. Augustine grass. It's just a smushy grass, and there's a lot of that on that airport I was using. You could just sink into it here. You also see that I held the nose at a nose-high attitude. Why was that? I was trying to reduce the weight, in particular, on the nose wheel. Remember the name of the game we said is to protect that nose wheel. Then you saw as airspeed increased, as lift began to develop, there was less wheel weight, less weight on those wheels. So I was able to get the airplane airborne at a speed that's slower than usual. However, it's not safe to climb just yet. So although we popped up, what did I do? I pushed it forward, not a lot, just a little bit, to hold it and keep it in ground effect. It's a lot of that finesse there. And I built up my airspeed until at least VX, and then I initiated that climb out, assuming there's an obstacle, and then once accelerated through that or above my obstacle, a nice VY climb out as well. Now, you may consider, by the way, leaving your landing gear out momentarily, especially if you just flew through muddy conditions, let the air get some of that off and everything else. But follow your POH as to when to retract flaps and gear as well. So now saying that, let's talk about a soft field. Then we'll head up into the airplane. Obviously the goal is to touch down, like every landing, as smoothly as possible, but in this case also as slowly as possible. It's very similar to a normal landing, but I want to hold the touchdown off in ground effect. To achieve that nice slow airspeed, let the mains touch down, let the wings support that weight, and again, the name of the game is protect that nose. So I'm trying to hold that nose off, as you'll see. And just like that takeoff, I have that yoke almost back in my chest eventually as we slow down enough. If you're too fast and you have that there, you'll end up flying again. So get that down and then just slowly, kind of like how you slowly work in crosswind. We'll talk about that next week, but slowly work in that back pressure. Use your flaps as directed by the manufacturer. Be mindful of carb heat, by the way, with this. We'll talk about that. Be mindful of carb heat because if you're coming in, carb heat is nothing more than unfiltered air going over your exhaust and into your fuel system, essentially. So you'll see me use carb heat on downwind, on base, and on final, turn it off so I don't stir up a bunch of grass and junk into my carburetor. But I still need it all the time, really. So anyways, let's go show that landing. We'll come right back here.
The landing's going to take a little bit more work here. We're on the downwind, already made the radio call. Everything's looking good. The big thing here is, again, the game is to protect that nose wheel. Well, not only do I want to protect the nose wheel, I also want to avoid the use of carb heat. Carburetor heat is just unfiltered air coming right on up and into my fuel system. So if I need carb heat, I can use it here, like would be my touchdown point carb heat. Power back, 10 degrees of flaps, but I'm going to have to remember on final to go ahead and take that carburetor heat and turn it back off. And Wilson traffic 23 Mike Zulus, turning left base runway 18, the grass runway at Williston. All right, coming on in here, I got someone else using 23 that I see. It's not going to be an issue. So I'm making a little bit of a tight base here just so I don't conflict with them. I see them there.
Departing pattern to the southeast, Wilson.
And everything is looking great before landing checklist. Everything looks set, verifying. All looks good. I'll go ahead and go 20 degrees of flaps. Coming on down. Again, soft field. We're touching down on the mains. We're protecting that nose wheel. And meanwhile, we don't need to use any carb heat. So I'm going to go ahead and turn carb heat off now just so I don't forget in this case. And when we touch down, we also want to avoid braking and get back on that yoke to protect that nose wheel here again. I've literally taxied, there was a airport I was doing a soft field landing at, and there was a sinkhole in the middle of it, and I unfortunately was the one who found it. No damage to the airplane, thank goodness, because I had the nose all the way back. Wilson traffic 23 Mike Zulu's turn and final 18, the grass runway at Williston. I say that because not a lot of people use the grass runway at Williston here. Everything is looking really, really nice. Looking good, and now you're going to notice something different here, right? I've got no center line. I've got no markings in this case. Quite a bit different it's down here now, isn't it? Everything's looking really, really good. I can see roughly where I want to touch down. Looking real nice. That wind coming over those trees. Power's back, floating it on in here.
Traffic 83 Chilima, departing pattern to the southeast, final call.
And holding it off. Protecting that nose, protecting that nose. Holding it off, holding it off, holding it off. Woohoo, it's windy. Okay, we're down on the ground. Protect that nose, avoid braking. Protecting the nose, avoiding braking. That should be your mantra here. Holding it back, holding it back. Whoo, it's gusty. Eventually that nose is going to set it on down, and we're going to bring it on back up in that case.
So again, you got to see a short field takeoff a short field landing. A bit of a throwback as well. Hey, I told you I'm gonna read every comment. So if you watched this video and couldn't say yes to having done a soft field takeoff or landing before, make that a 2023 goal. And don't fall into the excuse, so it's hard to find a soft field. There are plenty of public grass strips around there. Grass strips aren't just private airstrips. I know of dozens, in Florida especially, of public grass strips. Maybe if you leave a comment too with some public grass strips in your local area, share where you're at. I'm in Ohio and I know these strips are available. Just so others can start adding some destinations they want to get to, and go practice it with an instructor first. Why do I want you to practice this? Because I don't want your first real soft field landing to also be your first in-flight emergency. What do I mean by that? Well, if we were to have an engine failure, there's a high likelihood you're landing in some farmer's field somewhere, right? You need to focus on that landing, not going, oh, my engine quit, and this is my first time ever landing on grass. Right? We want to be as safe as possible. We're going to talk more about that on June 29th, by the way. I'll be teaching the secret to perfect landings. I'll be live doing that. That's June 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern. And last call for MzeroAcontest.com. Not really last call, but last call in this video to get you signed up as well to win the great gear from our friends at MyGoFlight. So go ahead, get signed up for that. Save the date, June 29th, 8 p.m. on the MzeroA YouTube and Facebook, exactly where you're watching this. There's also a Facebook event set up. I'll ask the team to link to as well, so you can RSVP there if you're on Facebook as well. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you.